You know, Tom, there's lots of stories going around as to exactly the reason why, once again, some people might suggest the former royal known as the Duchess of Sussex, aka Meghan Markle, former soap actress queen, has managed to score another negative on what was once a very good and close friendship. And here's what's truly gone on behind the scenes. As ever, let me explain. Morning, nice to see you, chums. Thank you so much for joining me today. And as ever, welcome one and all brand new subscribers. Nice to have your company. Thank you, by the way, for your lovely comments about filming over in Downing Street. There most days, got to tell you, very cold at this time of year. I don't mind sharing that with you. It really is, because it's a bit of a wind tunnel, you know, and people don't see that because there is another entrance out the back. And so when you're standing there, after a few hours, let me tell you, it's time for the leggings again. Yes, you know what I mean by that. Long johns if you're from the United Kingdom. Remember? Nothing wrong in it, but it's just so cold standing there. Now, a tenuous link coming, so brace yourself. We haven't had a wave of it. A tenuous link coming is the fact that there's a bit of a cold chill between what was once a good friendship with the editor of British Vogue, Edward Enninful. Now, I quite like Edward's story, and I've met him very briefly. Seems a nice, gregarious chap, very smiley, very fun. Not the image at all, but I think this is the thing. When you work in that sort of industry, and I've met, as you can imagine, quite a lot of them over the years, they want to do the pouting and the preening, you know. And it's not really the image, because when they bring the trays of food in, they're all starving. I remember years ago going to the opening of the Fashion Cafe, which was in Piccadilly. Can you imagine having a restaurant for people in fashion? Nobody ate a thing. Absolutely, you know, I was hoofing it down, as you can imagine. But no, they're all full. Apparently they'd all eaten at some point in the early 90s, so there was no reason to have another meal, you know. It's just ridiculous, but that is the fashion world. Now, as we know, Edward teamed up with the former cable TV actress Meghan Markle for that good something, Forces for Nature, Forces for Change, I can't remember now. And they sort of stipulated that this was the biggest selling issue in the history of Condé Nast Vogues. Now, I would dispute that, as I said, because, you know, going around London, you can go in many of the big hotels and you find all of these glossy magazines like Business Traveller, Vogue, Harper's, all free. And what I find odd is, and you know, I don't mind saying this because we're of the same, you know, when you go in there, you know, I'm very lucky to be able to go in and use their Wi-Fi and their conveniences and all that sort of stuff. But when you go in, these people can afford that magazine. So why would you place the magazine in a place that they can already afford it? You know what I'm saying? Doesn't make sense. But hey, that's the world of fashion. He's now back with a brand new platform called something like E20 or 72 or something like that, based on the year that he was born. And it's going to be like a quarterly magazine. I think it's very brave of him in this climate to do this. Naturally, according to a source, Meghan Markle saw herself gracing the front cover, particularly of the inaugural issue. He's gone instead with a true movie star, none other than Julia Roberts, last seen floating around promoting perfume somewhere, but has a stellar career nonetheless. Who remembers her in Steel Magnolias? Everybody thinks a pretty woman, but she was very good in that, let me tell you. Now, what's interesting is everybody says, oh, you know, Edward gave this very sort of nice, I thought, pleasant excuse as to why. And he said the Madonna thing, that he didn't like to repeat himself. He'd done that. It was very special. They did something unique, etc. But according to the source, it was basically that she's just too much trouble. And the other side of the coin is this, that, and this is from an excellent source that was there working on that particular edition, is that it was exhausting. You know, everybody was worn out by her. And remember, she took the credit for something, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, that lots of people had a hand in. I didn't see the list of credits anywhere because only Meghan could have done it. You get the picture. Now, Edward is all about, you know, being inclusive and all that sort of stuff. And he's running this totally differently to the world of Vogue. He wants to do it different. You can't blame him. So consequently, there was no room. And as I say, this spectacular fell out over the Manchester sort of red dress thing. He just felt enough is enough. Nobody wants to work with her. Anna Wintour doesn't want to do it. And also the bigger picture, and this is the most important bit, is they're unsure if you can sell the magazine. And once that happens in the world of magazines, digital platforms, stuff like that, we will click on because it's free. Are you going to splash out for the subscription knowing you've got the Markle? right? And that's the bigger picture. And so consequently, he's gone for a very safe, very much loved international actress with a stellar career behind her who's offered a wonderful interview. Now, what would you talk to on your launch issue about with Meghan? Because there is no success. And Edward has finally worked that out for himself. And that's the reason why she's not on the front cover. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.